gentlemen. Welcome to Rant Rave with Don Michaels, episode number 2. Today's special guest is Peter Krafcik, candidate for the council president of the City of Parma, Ohio. We're going to sit down and discuss his some of his visions and kind of get into his brain a little bit. So you're not going to want to miss this one.
Peter Krafcik, candidate for president of council in Parma. I've lived in Parma my entire life. I'm from here and I'm for here. And a vote for me on November 2nd is a vote to push Parma forward.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rant Rave with Don Michaels. Today's special guest is Peter Krafcik. Peter is running for the Parma council president position. At 25 years of age, he's ready to make a difference. So we're going to talk to him about some issues that the city of Parma is facing and or his position on different issues. So Peter, how you doing today, sir?
A little hot outside, but not doing too bad. It's a lot cooler in here than it is out there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, giving us the time to come down here and visit with you and kind of peek into your brain a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, all our pleasure. So Peter, before we get into any of the questions I have for you, I first want to kind of go over the statistics of Parma. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't know this or not, but Parma is actually the 7th largest city in the state of Ohio.
Yes.
The population as of 2019 was 78,103, and residency has declined by 8.8% since 2000. The median household income is $57,000, and the median state income is $58,000. The per capita income is $29,000 for Parma, and U.S. median per capita is $34,000. And 9.1% of Parma residents are living in poverty. 91.3% of adults have a high school diploma, 5.1% attend college, and 21.7% have graduated from college. Parma is somewhat diverse. The population is 85% white, 6% Hispanic, 3.3% black, 2.2% Asian, and 2.1% mixed and or other races. As far as the crime statistics go, in 2019, Parma violent crime rate was lower than the national violent crime rate by 62%. And property crime rate is 54% lower than the national average. And a little bit tidbit information here for me, because I was just curious on what the mayor of Parma makes. And his salary is $176,000 per year. And as of 2016, the current council president, Sean Brennan, reported that he had a salary of $22,000 working as the council president.
I do believe the 176 is with the health care and all the 401k and all that added in. That's with all benefits, I think. I think the base is 122 for mayor, somewhere in that range, somewhere around there. But that number seems like it's more with benefits and stuff added in.
Okay. And I got all this information from neighborhoodscout.com and cityrating.com. So anybody who wants to go out and check that, verify it, what have you, or if you're interested in learning more about the city of Parma. So with all that said, and I shared some of that information because it kind of goes along with some of the questions that I have for you. But before we get into all of that stuff, who is Peter Krafcik? I mean, you're 25 years old, you're educated, you're a bright guy. Why get involved in politics?
Well, the biggest thing is I'm from Parma. I grew up on Forest Avenue, right down off of Snow and 54th. That was where I grew up. We moved towards Langerford and Sassafras Estates. So I'm from here. I went to St. Charles for grade school. I was fortunate enough that my parents were able to send me to Padua for high school. And this is my home. It's something that from a young age I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to run for mayor. I've always wanted to run for some office in Parma.
Okay.
And the opportunity presented itself this time, and I said, this is the time. The time is now. I feel I'm, educated enough and smart enough to make a difference this time.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, with that being said, I also know that you're a businessman. But what types of businesses are you currently involved in, and how does that qualify you to represent the people of Parma as the council president?
So I started my first company when I was 19 years old. I was a goalkeeper in soccer, and I started a goalie glove brand. We went from being nobodies to one of the biggest independent brands in the entire industry by the time I moved on and passed it on to my business partners. I started another company back in, it was beginning of March of last year. We started a company that we were able to retail beer online to help our small breweries in the state of Ohio survive during COVID. I'm the chief financial officer of that company. I also own a consulting firm where we pretty much help get startups off the ground. We also have started 2 companies as well in that meantime. But growing businesses is my passion, and the ability to manage them, I think, is what sets, what my biggest skill is. I'm able to manage them and see, we're here, how can we get to here without jumping too quickly? And I'm very fortunate that everything's worked out the way it has been, because most of the time it doesn't. I've been very lucky that it has. But no, I think just managing a business and being able to control and make the tough decisions and pledge integrity when you need to and be forthright about conflict when it happens, that's the biggest thing that I've learned in business, is be forthright about conflict whenever it happens.
Okay. All right. So you feel you're more than qualified, and just as someone who has been somewhat of a fan of yours, following you on different social media sites and things like that, and your visions, I really think you're more than qualified for this. I do have another question on that same topic, but we're going to get to that at the end here. Just touching base on what I just said, you often discuss transparency in government. What would you do to make the City of Parma more transparent to the citizens?
Yeah, I think being a business owner and being a businessman, I've learned the hard way, unfortunately, when you aren't transparent about things, when you aren't forthright about conflict, and you don't pledge integrity, it comes to bite you in the rear end. Because I tried going that route, and you learn rather quickly. You just need to be forthright about things. And I think the biggest thing is our citizens deserve to know what's going on at all times. And I think most people can live with the honest truth one way or another, whether they agree with it or whether they don't. You'd much rather be told, okay, this is going on, and everyone be mad about it, rather than just say everything's fine and good, and then you find out later that everything's not fine and good. You're even more mad, you're even more pissed off.
Right.
I think we've seen that not just in Parma, but in a lot of cities. You have a lot of elected officials that do that nationally, statewide, and locally, and I think it's just wrong. And I think we need to get back to putting the residents first, and that just comes by being forthright about these things. And it's a simple thing. It's a very simple thing to do.
Okay, that sounds like a plan to me. All right, moving on to my next question here for you. How do you intend to increase safety throughout the Parma community? This past year, we've seen an uptake in crime across the country, in Parma as well, especially North Parma. There's been a lot of burglaries on Brook Park Road, all the different businesses, and what would you do as council president, or what could you do as council president to help create a safer environment for the citizens of Parma?
I think it's a shame that after everything we went through the last year, that a lot of people in this country decided to take to the streets in violence at times, unfortunately, and it's a shame. And this isn't just a Parma issue; this is a national issue. It's a shame that it's happening countrywide. But I think the thing we can do as a community is, I think the first thing, I know right now there's something before City Council right now where they're looking at adding 7 more police officers full-time to the city. I know that was at the last council meeting. I know it's kind of in the works. I don't know when it's gonna come through, but I think adding more police won't be a problem. I think the biggest thing that we can do though as a community is to, one, look out for your neighbors. That's the biggest thing you can do. Secondly, I think our local business people in the community need to look and go, okay, how can we create more business? Because nobody goes and vandalizes downtown Cleveland on East 4th on a busy night, because there's people around, because there's businesses to go to, there's bars, restaurants, coffee shops, comedy clubs, radio halls, things of that nature. But when there's nothing around, that's what happens. And that's what, if you look at, when you were speaking about the northern part of Parma, I think that's an issue that we have, is that there's just the gap between business. You'll have a bar here, and then you'll drive a quarter mile and there's nothing. And and then there's another bar, there's a small restaurant or something of that nature. I think we need to look at it, how can we put the entrepreneurs in this city in a position where they can open more businesses up? How can we work with them as a city to recruit more businesses to this city so that we don't have these giant gaps?
Okay. Another tough question here for you. Now, as I read through the different Parma groups, obviously I monitor a lot of different sites looking for different interviews or something interesting or what have you. And I've come across Parma Uncensored and Parma Neighborhood Watch. And I've seen in different comments, posts, what have you, a lot of people are concerned with the Section 8 housing, rental homes, and people just not taking care of their properties. Because they're concerned it's going to lower the property values, and and people work hard to keep their homes, and they want to keep that value up. So, what could you do, or if anything, to help keep Parma from becoming what I would call a rental community?
Yeah. So we have what I call a washing machine problem in Parma, and what I mean by that is our housing values aren't what they should be, and that's the biggest concern of a lot of residents who own houses in this community, is that they're going to lose value on their house. So that's the first problem, and where that leads into is the housing values are not good. So that leads into the school district not getting the proper funding that they need to do what they necessarily want to do at times. And that correlates to not having these services and amenities because the housing values are lowered. So everything is tax-wise, right? I'm not for raising taxes. I'm for raising taxes in a responsible way by bringing more businesses to this city so that your housing values go up, so that the underlying value of what you purchased as a homeowner, there's a foundation. It's not just a COVID-inflated market. It's not anything of that nature. I think the way we can fix that is by bringing business to this city that's going to create jobs. We've lost some of our largest tax generators who've moved to Independence, Strongsville, and Cleveland over the last 5 years. It's a shame because we're already budget strapped as is in the city, and when we're constantly seeing our biggest tax generators leave, that's not helping us long term. We need to at least begin to do something to bring some of that back. So I think one thing that I would do to help with that is to bring business back so that these landlords can justify paying, charging their tenants $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month instead of $600, $700, $800. That's where the problem comes in, is there's no underlying value there at the moment. As much as I love every establishment in the city, we need more so that we can raise that value up even more. We got a lot of great things right now, we've got a lot of great amenities, but we can make it better, and there's no reason why it can't be better.
Okay, excellent. You somewhat answered my next question, which was, as a businessman, how would you take your experience and change the business landscape in the city?
Yeah, I think one thing with that is we can create an opportunity zone within the city where we can say, hey, if you're going to move your business to this part of town, well, let's use a good example. Let's use Ridge Road between Snow and Pearl, that little triangle there.
Okay.
If you're going to move your business there, we're going to give you a $15,000 credit per se, a tax abatement. If you want to do a capital improvement on that, we won't tax the first $15,000 of that value for a set amount of time. These are things that I think we can easily do, and I think anybody on council would agree with it. If you're getting businesses to move in these vacant properties, that's fantastic. Our Economic Development Center 2 years ago, which sits on State Road, kind of down closer to Brook Park. It's on the right, if you're going north, it's on the right-hand side. It was in a plaza next to 2 empty buildings. Our Economic Development Center was next to 2 empty buildings. And as a business guy, if I drive into a city and see that, that's something you see on Twitter and you kind of hit retweet and you laugh at it, right? And this city shouldn't be a laughingstock. We're the 7th largest city in the state of Ohio. We have fantastic amenities. We have very good schools. But what we need is to bring those businesses in so we can make it better, so we can build a better park, so we can have better roads, so we can have better recreational services. I think it's a simple fix, and I think it's something that with a fresh mindset in city council could get done quicker than what's currently going on right now.
Okay, excellent. So another question here for you. Actually, this is going to be a 2-part question, but and you did answer this earlier. As part of your opening, where I said the current mayor's salary is $176,000, and you believe that includes 401k and benefits. So you believe it's around $120,000?
It's around 100 to 125-ish in that range, I believe.
So with that being said, we'll go with the $120,000 figure.
Yeah.
the median household income for Parma is $57,000. Okay, so if the mayor is making $120,000, he is actually making twice the pay of his constituents. How do you feel about that?
I mean, truth be told, I really don't have a huge problem with it. That at times is a thankless job. If we especially look over the last year, right? You look at any of these governors, any of these county executives, any of that. At times we take it for granted, and I think it's a thankless job. And we are one of the largest cities in the state. So, you know, if you look at the city of Cleveland, I think they make probably $200,000, somewhere around there. Akron around the same. Again, you know, the amount of phone calls the mayor probably gets in the middle of the night about awful things that happen, unfortunately, you know, God bless them, you know. It's a tough job, and I think, you know, the stress that comes with it is definitely, you know, worth the money. It's not like, you know, we're paying our council people $90,000 a year and it's a part-time job. No, I think the mayor definitely works for his money, and he definitely puts the work in.
Okay.
You know, but I think right now where we're at salary-wise too, with, you know, council president also, I think it's a perfect salary. You know, we're not making a ton of money, and it shouldn't be, because this should be a public service. It shouldn't be about getting into it to make money. There should be no ulterior motive to run for office other than to make a difference. And if you're running for the money, then that's your ulterior motive right there.
Well, you still want to answer my next question.
Yeah.
My last and final question for you. As I reviewed looking at what a councilman makes here in Parma, the person you're running against, Sean Brennan, he reported in 2016 to have a salary of $22,000. I'm not sure how accurate that is, if it's higher or lower right now, I'm not sure, but that goes back to 2016. Why would an entrepreneur, businessman like yourself, decide to take on a part-time position filled with God knows how much stress, answering to so many different people? Why would you want to do that? What makes you take? Why? Yeah.
It's where this is where I'm from. You know, this is my city. You know, I don't want to leave Parma. You know, there will be the day that I inevitably leave the city. I think everybody at some point, wherever they're from, they leave. Either they go off to college, they move to another town, they move out of state. I don't want to leave Parma without being able to leave behind an impact and a long-term legacy. You know, it doesn't need to be something as great as building the Taj Mahal. No, I just want to see my talents and what I know I'm good at be put to good use in a place that I love. You know, I always joke that I call it to all my coworkers, I call it Parmadice. You know, and it's a vision in my head, I always call it Parmadice, but I do firmly believe that I can make a positive difference in this city, and I can make a positive difference in the short term that I think will ripple into the long term. It can be done. Everything that, you know, this bright future that we've been promised is still possible in the city, but it's only possible without the current elected officials right now, I feel. I just feel that there's, you know, we all have the same end goal, I feel, but the way of getting there is just, to me, it doesn't make sense. True. There's much better ways to get there. There's much better ways to allocate money. There's much better ways to spend our money. There's much better ways to govern a city, lead, manage, so forth, grow, expand, things of that nature. And I know I can make a long-term impact in the city, whether I'm elected for 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, God being 20 years. I hope it doesn't get that long. I hope it's not that long, but no, that's why I'm running. I think we got a fantastic opportunity right now. It's almost a rebirth out of COVID. We've got a really good opportunity to change this city for the better for everybody and not just for a select few.
Excellent. Well, Peter, you know what? I don't have any other questions for you. I really appreciate taking the time to have us down here to visit with you and peek into your mind a little bit. So on November 2nd of this year, Parma Residents, vote for Peter. You guys can check your websites.
Yeah, websites, www.peterkrafcik.com. And same thing for the Facebook as well. I think Facebook's actually Krafcik for Parma. Twitter, PM Krafcik, and then I have an Instagram too. I think it's Krafcik for Parma as well, though I know not a lot of people are on that. So,
well, we'll be sure to include that all in the videos here, so you guys can check out Peter and look a little further into him and his thought process and where his envisions and so forth. So, Ladies and gentlemen, or Peter,
Hey,
thank you, sir.
hey, thanks for
I'm
having me.
I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. Yeah, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, you all have a great day. Bye-bye.